We are the nerds of a nation. We are the nerds of a nation. We are.
One Piece, Chapter 35, The Steep Slope. Alright, here we are once again. Welcome, brothers and sisters of the Nerd Nation. I, as usual, am Jim, here to bring you a hopefully insightful and thought-provoking review of the epic and wonderfully written tale of One Piece. We are at the end of Volume 4, for those that have been following along, and boy, this is a good one. The last few chapters have moved very quickly. The last chapter, just to give you a quick recap, ended with, ultimately it ended with Luffy just knocking Captain Kuro's block off. He took him by surprise and just used the Gomu Gomu pistol, and I mean, bam, just hit him from, 40, 50 feet away, from down the bottom of the slope where he is, and Kuro has been waylaid. So that's how things start out over here. We see, Django and some of the crew members, are like, oh wow, he just knocked the captain out. I mean that's some serious business right there. Because they all fear him. He's he's like this magnificent legend to them, and they're just like, I can't believe that he just got blindsided. So. It's kind of a cute thing. A few seconds later, all of a sudden you hear some rustling in the bushes, and Usopp's three minions, Onion, Pepper, and Carrot, who, if we remember, are very loyal, but Usopp had lied to them the day before and said, no, I was just lying about the pirates coming. There's no danger to protect them, so they'd stay home. So they come bursting out of the bushes, man, with a shovel and a rake and a baseball bat or whatever, and they're like, Usopp, Usopp's pirates or crew are here, And then one of them says, oh, look at the captain, and it looks like he's been fighting. And another one, the next one goes, oh, he smells sweaty, he smells like he's been, fighting. And then the other one goes, smells like he's forgotten his pirate crew, So anyway, they go up to Kuro, because he's laid flat out on the ground, right? I mean, he just got knocked the fuck out. And they just start beating him and waylaying him, And Usopp's like, no, get away. What are you guys doing, Just get out of here, And they've got a lot of heart, but I think Usopp is smart enough to realize that Kuro is not going to be, just completely done with one punch from Luffy. So he's telling them to back off. Kuro then goes and kind of just does like an exorcist, man. And I mean, he's laying flat out, and he's just like, and just sits straight up. And, stands, and the three minions are like, oh, Jesus. And then they're like, what the hell? The next panel, he walked right by them. He has no intention. He doesn't even care about them right now. He's pissed. He just, he wants to get this business done and over with. His plan, is coming off the train's coming off the rails. So he goes over and just, boom, just nails Usopp, right? And Usopp, hits the ground, and obviously he's got a vendetta against him because Usopp's the one that overheard his plans, against his wishes, had been seeing Mistress Kaya, and really is the one that has perpetuated this whole thing. If it wasn't for Usopp being the catalyst in this and the kind of the door jam here, this would have been done and over with already. So he's definitely not happy with him. And he tears right through Usopp, and then goes and says to Luffy, he says, so, you've eaten the fruit of the devil tree. You kind of took me by surprise there. Nice trick. And Luffy says, yes, I have the power of the, and he kind of boasts about himself. So Captain Kuro then goes and tells Django, he says, listen, you take care of the plan and, hypnotize Mistress Kaya like we talked about, and then kill her. I'll take care of this guy down here, and that's what we're going to do now. So he's marching down, downwards towards the hill. Django starts walking up the hill, and then Zoro goes and says, oh no, buddy, I don't think so. And he kind of does like a Gandalf from like the Lord of the Rings trilogy, and he says, you shall not pass, and he's got his sword outstretched looking all badass. And so Django goes and says, now remember, Butchie and Siam has been killed or is knocked out, whatever. Butchie, though, was just wounded, and Django had hypnotized him and kind of given him the strength to more or less not mentally to get past his wounds and just kind of think that he's superhuman. So he goes and calls Butchie and says, Butchie, take him out, take care of him. So Butchie goes and, catapult, and he fires himself up in the air, and then he does his catastrophe, And Zoro's like, oh shit, not this again, and he's trying to jump out of the way. Well, this time now he hits the ground with even more force than he did a couple chapters ago when he just did a Hulk smash and kind of just cracked the surrounding area. I mean, there's shit shattering down, man. There's trees falling in the background. The parts of the cliff are sliding down, and it's because he's all jacked up because Django hypnotized him and gave him the power of like a crackhead. So he bam, and then he starts coming at and then Zoro somewhat seems to dodge it, but even he's like, wow, that's bigger than the last one, and kind of thinking probably this is going to be a little bit tougher than I thought. While this is happening, of course, Django is marching up past him. He then goes and Butchie kind of pins him up against the wall, and he's got his claws, and he's trying to push against his sword. And Zoro looks at him, and he's just like, and this is the intimidation factor. Whenever you are in any type of encounter, most things can be handled really just by the intimidation factor. How the person looks, how they act, how their voice sounds. And this is one of those times where we get to see that because Zoro's not the biggest, and he may not be the strongest either. However, he is very intimidating, and he says right flat out to him, it's a mental manipulation thing, and he says, I already defeated you once, you really want to come back for more? And then boom, he puts a boot right in Butchie's face. While this is ensuing, because obviously there's going to be some back and forth going on with that, we are in the next panel shown a little bit further up the hill. Django has now made his way up closer, to Mistress Kaya. Usopp, who has been laid out, is still conscious somehow after he's taken a beating. And he kind of puts his head up and he says, you know what? He says, my faithful pirate crew. He says, what I need you to do is I need you to take Mistress Kaya and get her out of here. I need you to protect her. They're trying to kill her. That's your job. Be my crew. Do this, And he wants to utilize them to not only get away and get out of harm's way, but then to also, it's twofold, to take care of and to protect Mistress Kaya, which is obviously his concern. So he doesn't want her to get hypnotized and then killed. So, again, shows some of his character. And even Zoro, I think, or Luffy says, oh, that's great how he, kind of used them in a good way to do something that needed to be done. So they go to grab Mistress Kaya to get going, and Django says, lethal stars, and he goes and throws out some of those things that he had, those spinning discs, and goes to fire them out. But as he does, he had just walked past Usopp, and Usopp just, pulls his foot out from under him. So he misfires, of course. He falls, he falls flat on his face, ass up in the air, legs everywhere, spread out. And so Usopp, we can see, man, he's a guy that he takes a licking, he keeps on ticking, man. He just keeps coming at you. It doesn't matter, what doesn't matter if he's down and out, So I think it's really cool. So they wind up going and they're basically telling Kaya, they're like, come on, hurry up. Now you got to remember, she can't move that fast, and even Kuro makes mention of that. He's like, she's not going to be able to get away from you. I've been watching this sick girl for a while. Whatever her ailment is, she's not running any marathons, which I mentioned a few chapters ago. But Onion, Pepper, and Carrot are like, hey, listen, all we got to do is get to the edge of the forest, and if we can do that, we're in our own backyard. We know where we can hide. Probably duck, dodge, dive, dip, and that was it, the 5 Ds from that movie Dodgeball. At any rate, and I forget what the fifth one is. So it winds up, just like I said, being action-packed, from start to finish, and we wind up seeing that this is going to carry over into the next volume, and we're pretty much left hanging over here because what winds up happening is then all this goes on, and Kuro is now coming towards Luffy, and we know that they're going to be locking locking horns, and we're going to obviously keep our fingers crossed that Luffy comes out on top, and I really do hope that he does. But I also wanted to make a quick mention too. Several of you have been commenting about taking a look at the things in between the chapters, the pages. And to me, they just look like goofy caricature-like drawings. There was one towards the beginning of the volume where it looked like Zoro was using wooden swords and he was battling like a kangaroo. And then there was like a baby kangaroo inside the kangaroo's pouch with 2 more swords. So he was battling like a 4 wooden-sworded kangaroo. In this one, and everybody tells me look out from chapter 35 on, these are side stories, they connect, and that's great. I really appreciate you telling me that because I don't overlook them, but I haven't thought there's any significance other than that it was just maybe some pinup art drawn by Oda or maybe a fan, I don't know. But this one, it showed a boat, and at the beginning of this one, in chapter 35, it showed a boat, and it showed Buggy the Clown. And it looked like Buggy without the rest of his body, like the little short Buggy that we saw where he pulled his feet and his hands into like a head, with no body. And there was, and like I said, it's drawn in more of a goofy caricature, like animated style, I guess, cartoonish. And there's like these piranhas coming after him, jumping out of the water, and one of them's got an eye patch on. So I don't know what the significance of that is, but I do read the comments. I do appreciate the information, and I will keep my eye out as I've gone back now too in the first 35 chapters and looked. I read the SBS pages as well to get a little bit of a background. And even though I asked the question a few chapters ago about what their ages are, it was really more just for fan interaction. I had read the SBS bar that told how that Luffy was 17 or 18 and that Zoro was to be about 19 and that sort of thing. So this wraps up another great volume. Let me know what you think, brothers and sisters, in the comments down below. Hit the like button if you so desire, if you think I've earned it, and certainly subscribe if you haven't done so already. So we will catch you in the next one and look forward to starting the next volume and seeing where all of this goes. Take it easy, Nation. So here we are, brothers and sisters, at the end of yet another volume. We're going through them quick, and hopefully everybody's enjoying the ride, as I am enjoying reading them and reviewing them. Here's a picture that I previously released on one of my Walking Dead reviews, but thought that it would be relevant to show, and it is my first try at a comic book-like version of our beloved character, Usopp. Hope you enjoy it. Let me know in the comments.